Look, it's an honor to be here for the launch of the CANCEA report, because I think it's important that we focus on basic income as a way of generating wealth. The independence of the study, the issues it addresses, the investment return approach it takes to how a basic income would reinforce economic growth and job creation is a very important contribution to the debate that thousands of Canadians are now having about the horrific weaknesses and failures in our social security system from coast to coast. And as we now can see in places like Spain and South Korea in its largest, biggest population province, basic income models are being put into effect for thousands of low-income citizens. And as we see that in the same way as the CERB program introduced in Canada by the federal government because of the inadequacy of existing welfare and EI programs, kept our GDP, gross domestic product, essentially stabilized and ensured that millions of people could pay rent and buy food despite the lockdowns. It is clear that the CANCEA study we celebrate today is really, really necessary. In the past week, in the Senate of Canada, where I don't work and haven't worked for 6 years, Senator Kim Pate of Ontario, in a historic motion to delay the automatic passage of billions of dollars in estimated spending for the coming year because they did not include one penny for working age Canadians living in poverty. The results of the study being launched right here were cited and put on the official parliamentary record. And with all the talk about a new Deputy Minister of Finance who starts this week in Ottawa, remarkably bright, able, and experienced Michael Sabia, until now chair of the Federal Infrastructure Bank, what this study underlines is that if new infrastructure that supports efficiency and new technology and environmental sustainability is of immense value, then it's important to remember that human beings, our fellow Canadians, are the most important part of our national infrastructure. And turning our back on those who are living beneath the poverty line is turning our back on what the infrastructure of civility, decency, and fairness really requires for a modern democracy like Canada. Investing in people is really important. The literature and statistics, colleagues, are clear. Poverty is the best predictor of bad health outcomes, early hospitalization, bad educational outcomes for the kids, substance abuse, and trouble with the law, and radically shorter lives for millions of Canadians, all of which cost our economy billions of dollars annually. So investing in reducing the size of poverty in our country is an investment that generates immediate and long-term returns. And because both models of basic income reviewed by the CANCEA study encourage work, as opposed to provincial welfare systems that do the opposite and trap people in poverty, measuring the growth in productivity and economic activity is a vital piece of the policy puzzle. The underlying analysis of this study tells us why legislatures, chambers of commerce, city councils, the Canadian Manufacturers Association, the Conference Board have all tilted in favor of basic income reform to reform the centuries-old and punitive approach to poverty that this country has taken for a very long time. Basic income received and spent by lower income people does not go to free tax-free bank accounts in the Caymans or numbered companies in Panama. It is circulated in the economy, usually in the local economy, in a way that helps local merchants and businesses. In fact, in both Brazil with the Bolsa Familia and South Korea with the cash cards used by recipients, they can only be used in local merchants and stores owned locally. It's because thoughtful governments want local and small business to benefit because previously welfare poor and working poor have some money through basic income to spend money on their own in stores for things they need. I point out, by the way, colleagues, that South Korea has nothing to learn from Canada on economic growth, technological progress, or productivity. It's a star on all those fronts. So I'm here to celebrate the economic analysis and the economists who structured and wrote the CANCEA report, the accessible language it uses, and the methodical assessment of return on investment. I also congratulate UBI Works, the CEOs for basic income, who commissioned the study. All of these are vital pillars of a better way forward, building back better, of broadening the family table in Canada and building a stronger economy for the future. I'm delighted to be part of the discussion this morning. Thank you, Jesse.